So today I'm going to be showing you around my personal portfolio website. This is the single nexus of my online presence, and it's where I share all of my music. So I'm going to be showing you on how I designed my personal website, and you can take some of the ideas that I have, or you can also not take them, and hopefully help you design yours, since I've been getting a lot of questions online about how to go about that. So stay tuned for some useful information. So here we are on my personal website. So I use Squarespace to build all of my websites. I've used Wix in the past. I've used many other free options, and I just found Squarespace to be the most intuitive and just like the best intuitive user design to create websites really quickly and efficiently. I'm not sponsored by them, but this is just what I find to be the best. And there are specifics on how to use Squarespace, and there's many tutorials you can find. I'm just going to kind of give a broad overview of how my website is designed in general, and then you can kind of go about your own way depending on what service you use on how to design yours. So this is my landing page. I go for a very clean, minimal design. I like the many areas of negative white space. Just simple serif fonts, black text, and I do have some accent colors. Orange is my favorite color, so of course a lot of the action buttons, like this contact button here, is completely orange, and you'll see in other places where you'll see that orange accent, and I keep that exact orange color consistent throughout the entire website. It's kind of like a branding thing. Speaking of branding, you'll see my signature at the very top of the page. If you click on that, that brings you right to the home page. I like having that. I think it looks cool. And on some of my scores, I use that exact signature. I just have it as like a PNG file that I can just slap on anything for branding purposes. I have Composer, Carlos Lalonde, very, very fun. It's underlined. I show my newest music that I have published on my website. So newest music is this choral piece. I have a nice picture of it on the left with just like a little description that and when you hit learn more, it brings you to the actual sale page. And I'll show you that in a second once we get to the catalog. But yes, I have just a little kind of taste of what each section of my website has through the homepage. Here's my, I have a newsletter that they can read that. I got a lot of fancy graphics and videos, like this is a time lapse of me working in Dorico. You don't have to have all these things, but over the years I've decided to kind of make it my own. So for example, a lot of the background images, these are not just stock images of sheet music, these are actually photographs that I've made of my own music. And here you have even more ways to explore my site. I have a blog, so you can check that out, my catalog, of course. I have a private studio and a place where people can ask questions or contact me. And I just have that all here laid out with just a little bit of a description for each. And revisit old music. I have a place where I can showcase an old piece of mine that hasn't been resurfaced in a while, to hopefully spark some interest if people are still browsing here. And at the bottom, I have this is like the footer, I have a FAQ section, and another contact thing. And the contact section of your website is actually one of the most important. If you can design it very well, then that'll lead you to a lot of avenues down the road for like commissions and things like that. So I owe a lot of my success, if you could say, to having a contact page, and it's really important. And that's why I highlighted in orange at the very top. Okay, let's kind of just go page by page and see what I do. So about page, the header here is the next one. Wow, okay, that's me. So again, here's that accented orange color. I think it's nice. Professional biography. We can make that a whole separate video on how to write your own biography, but I have that there. Headshot of me from like 3 or 4 years ago, which is getting kind of dated, but it's really nice to have a professional looking headshot, or one that's like high quality. If you can find a DSLR camera that you can like rent or borrow, or I guess phones these days are actually pretty good, but try to make it look as professional as possible, because this picture can be used on marketing. programs and things like that. And speaking of which, I have a link down here to download headshots. So in case these are going to be used for the press or things like that, I have black and white and a color option. You can download those. I recently added this CV option, and if you want to look at my curriculum vitae, you can see that on this website. And I, of course, redact my address and things like that for this public version, but this has things for people that want to hire me for things. So my CV is there. Keep it very simple. I don't like the bios that are like 10 paragraphs long and takes you forever to read. I keep it very concise. Some composer websites have like a short version and a long version that you can choose depending on what they're looking for. If they want to use your bio here for a concert program, it really depends, but I prefer just short and concise. Okay, moving on to the music catalog. This is kind of the bread and butter of what people are going to be looking for. If we click on it, again, I have just some images of my music up here. And this has been the most like contentious part for me when it comes to designing a portfolio. I've gone through different iterations of it in the past, and you can look at other composers on how they design it, but I just like having it very simple. I don't have a lot of pieces published like for online viewing and for selling, so that's why this thumbnail view, this grid view, works for me. And it's very simple, and there are like categories you can search by. But the fact that I don't really have a ton of pieces on here, it makes it not too difficult to navigate. If you have hundreds of pieces or dozens of pieces and you want to sort them in a more of just like a simple list, or just categorize them by difficulty or by ensemble type, then that's probably a better option. But I'm going with this more artsy view of my pieces, and they're basically sorted. I guess the order is not really chronological when I write these, but I can change that. It's kind of just curated on how I want people to see them. So of course, these thumbnails are actually not photographs. They look like they're real paper, but I think I just overlaid a cardstock texture in like Photoshop to make it look like it was like a nice professional overhead shot of the covers. And I added artificial drop shadow to make it look like it was a photograph, but these are all digital. Another tutorial could be made on how I do that, but I think it looks really nice. So if we click on any one of these, it'll go to that piece's individual page, and that's where they can purchase it, learn more, and we'll go do that. So let's click on 4 Love Songs. This is a song cycle I wrote. Immediately has the price, the instrumentation, and then the duration right at the top, and then they can purchase the PDF score here, which we'll get to. That's another can of worms. Under here, you can buy the print edition, which I have uploaded on JW Pepper. I just outsource all that printing to them. And then this has kind of the performance information and the movements, and this giant embedded YouTube video of the score and the song. The audio. And I wish I can change how big that is, but I can't be bothered. Under that, I have a view perusal score option, which is just a watermarked PDF of it where they can't download it or get it without paying for it. So that's also important. And then program note here, very short and simple, and then some information here about the year completed, instrumentation, publisher, errata, and all these are going to be the same on every piece that I have in the catalog. I kind of just copy and paste this template, and it's really that simple. So when you hit purchase PDF score, like I mentioned, I have a little intake form where it requires them to select whether it's for personal use, for school or institution, or a professional ensemble. And really what this is for is that if it's at a concert, I want to make sure that I get a copy of like the program so I can get paid a residual for being in a PRO, which is a performing rights organization. If you don't know what that is, I think I have a video about it on how to join one of those, but it's just another way for composers to make money if their pieces are performed in a concert. So I want to make sure I'm made aware of like who's going to be performing it. And yeah, so that's important. So that's pretty much it for the catalog page. I mean, every other entry is pretty much the same thing, but the information is obviously different. I just like having it all streamlined and consistent. If there's an award, I also put that at the top here. Okay, moving on to services. This is starting to get optional. You don't have to have this. This is just where I advertise private composition lessons where they can hit enroll now, and I try to make it as appealing as possible for people and try to make it useful, but that's where they can enroll. I also offer editing and engraving services, so all these are also photographs of mine, and you can view a gallery of some of my engraving. Very fun stuff. You don't have to have all this, of course, all these disclaimers for the fine legal folk out there, but you don't have to have that. This is just if you are doing things other than showcasing your work. Same thing with the blog. You don't need a blog, but I just have it because I started it a couple of years ago and haven't really updated it since. But yeah, this is kind of just a landing page for a few blog posts, and it's all built into Squarespace to kind of make it easy for me to create blogs on one spot. But yes, very simple. So contact me. This is a separate page. This is, again, like I mentioned, one of the more important pages on your site. This is kind of how people reach out to you and offer things and ask you questions. And a lot of good things have come from having a contact page. So I make it very simple. I have embedded intake form right here. And this, once they fill it out, goes straight to me via like a Google Sheets doc where it's just all laid out in the spreadsheet. It's not pretty, but it works. And it's very simple. I ask for their name, email, the category, and there's plenty of options here just to sort them. And a lot of them are spam, unfortunately, so I can't really fix that. Subject and a message. It's kind of like an email. And here I just have some social media links. I think that's it. It's very simple, but the more cluttered you make it, I think that the more difficult it is for them to follow through in anything important. At the bottom footer, I mentioned I have an FAQ section, so I mean you can see what that looks like, but I think it's useful, especially if you're selling things like printed copies. It might be useful to explain kind of what that looks like. I just do it for fun, and I think that's it. Sometimes I put like secret hyperlinks or secret buttons on my website, but I don't remember where I have them. But again, yeah, I just keep it very simple. That's just my style. I know this stress a lot of people out how like bare it is, but I think over time I've decided to make my design language a little more minimal, but still classic with, serif typefaces and things like that. And it kind of reflects my cover materials on my music. It's very, very simple and looks like traditional almost. And so, I've had a little flirtation with this style of cover art inspired by composer Michael Markowski. But yeah, other than that, I keep it very simple. So those are some of the basic things you need. I'd say just have a good homepage like this one with just little descriptions about each of your other pages on your website. Just kind of keep it clutter free. The about page, this is where you have your bio and a nice picture. Your catalog is another important page, but there's different ways about how to design it, but this is the way I like it. And services are not necessary, blogs are necessary. Contact pages though, so make sure you have one of those. That makes it really easy for them to reach out to you. But other than that, I hope this was helpful. I know I didn't really explain how I designed each page like in the back end, but website builders like Squarespace make it really easy to do it without any coding knowledge. Just pretty much drag and drop. But if you do have any specific questions, I can make a follow-up video on how I did it specifically. But other than that, I appreciate you guys for watching. Comment down below if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.